They were the Bright Future Suns. Then they were the Bright Now Suns. They're neither right now. They need a new name. Is it the Bleak Future Suns?
The Bleak Future Suns. I went to a basketball game yesterday. Not a good one, mind you. I went to the Grizzlies Suns. And one of the things I want to talk to you about on this, look, the Grizzlies absolutely pummeled them. They beat them by 30. They've won 10 games in a row now. And they're the first team in 37 years to have a 10-game streak where they've scored over 115 in every game. So they have been on fire. They ended the year with a couple of wins. They have not lost a game since the calendar turned. Their competition yesterday was not good. They were without Chris Paul. They were without Devin Booker. We've talked about how just ridiculously bad it has been for Phoenix in the absence of Booker. And so no Booker, no Paul, and that's who they're running out there yesterday. And they get beat by 30. And I couldn't help but think as I'm watching it, are they buyer mode, and just say, look, this is happening to us because we don't have Booker. I saw the other day, I was reading this article, the Paul clutch stats, which for the entire length of his career, he has been like the GOAT clutch player, like the plus minus god, the don't get in a nip tuck game against Chris Paul with 3 minutes left because he's gonna do you in. And that's just not so anymore. His fourth quarter numbers, his crunch time numbers, all those things that have been magnificent and have made him a bona fide first ballot Hall of Famer, those don't apply anymore. At least they have not so far this year. And then, so you've got a regression there, a big one. And then you've got the Booker being out, and the record just keeps on free falling.
3-13 without him. 3-13.
Do you just say, hey, we're going to get him back, and this is probably the last run with Paul, so we build out and we try to, even from a low seed, possibly, we still try to make a run because this is kind of what we've got right now? Or do you start augmenting the roster on the run? I mean, it's a very interesting situation with the ownership, which has been changed over completely. So you don't know, their vision versus Sarver's vision. You don't know who's getting to make the calls on what the future is going to be. You've got Ayton's name that's kind of back out there again.
That's who they got to get rid of, is DeAndre Ayton. He's been the biggest disappointment. He said it himself pre-draft, Chris. My NBA goal was to get to my second contract. He got a second contract, and he's been lazy. He's not put in the same effort that he ever has in recent years. He was playing for the deal, it feels like, to me, watching him this year. And I like DA. I love DA, what he grew into for Phoenix. But this version of him,
you'd move off it.
It's an embarrassment, right? Like, this team needs him without Chris Paul and Devin Booker. You're the guy who needs to step up. You're the guy who needs to box out Steven Adams and put a body on him and try to grab some rebounds.
Yeah.
And not play so soft. It's honestly, I can't imagine what it must be like to be Chris Paul or Devin Booker when you've had to be on his ass for years to get him to hustle consistently. Then he gets paid. And then in a moment where your team needs you, he doesn't step up. I mean, my goodness, I can't imagine what it's like to be one of those guys right now. How the frustration they must feel watching Ayton play on the floor, especially against Adams. What a dramatic difference with the level of effort between those two guys.
Well, and it clearly funnels into Monty, because Monty's level of frustration grew last year during the postseason. We had those ominous quotes prior to the season, which was, we haven't even talked since this, pretty public blow up between the two. And then this year there have been videos of them going at each other in huddles and whatnot. And so their relationship is not actually, is obviously not on the up and ups. But I say all this to say, like, the record was awesome when they had Booker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know what to make of it. Like, they were right there at the top. of the West. So I don't know if I was really struggling with this yesterday. Do you just say, look, this is happening because Booker's out, and when Booker comes back, we're going to be just fine? Or do you say, we've kind of seen what life is like without one guy, and we don't like what we've seen out of some of the other guys, and so we're going to try to change this thing around on the run? I mean, I don't know if you load up and go
here's
for
the thing,
it,
Chris,
or if you, I don't know.
What do we just say about the Celtics? It's your phrase, guys who don't suck.
Yeah.
With Phoenix, you look at their roster right now. Who are the keepers if you're trying to win a championship? Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges.
Yep. Right.
Who else?
It's not a bright future, Kev.
No, it's not anymore. Well, first of all, they were the Bright Future Suns. Then they were the Bright Now Suns. They're neither right now. They need a new name. Is it the Bleak Future Suns?
The Bleak Future Suns.
Is that who they are now?
I think we saw that. I mean, I think we dubbed that during the Dallas beat down by 1,000. I mean, if you lose by, I don't care. I know they had COVID. They also lost by 1,000 on their.
They have a worse record than the Thunder right now, and the Blazers, and the Wolves.
You gotta watch out for the Thunder.
Oh, they're. I mean, we talked about that. We gave them.
You
much love.
You walk in screwing around with them, they'll put 150 on your head.
Oh, no doubt about it. Whereas with Phoenix, it's the opposite case. Like if you're the Suns right now, our friend of the show, Nikias Duncan, host the Dunker Spot podcast. He asked a question on Twitter this morning. He said, when do the Suns begin, exploring Chris Paul trades? CP3 has his deal this year. It's, $16 million guaranteed next year, and then it's totally non-guaranteed the year after. So the contract is very flexible for the team. I mean, do you think there's any logic to that, Chris? For the Phoenix Suns saying, you know what, maybe we take a step back this year, we're out of contention, or are you all in still on trying to add players and build and try to win and get yourself back in the top 6 in the West?
I think because I was so good when he was healthy, I would keep it together for this year and then make my decisions in the offseason.
He hasn't Devin Booker, though.
Yeah. Yes. Because,
Okay.
I get to the playoffs, he could be the best player in a playoff series.
Yeah.
Any of them. He's that level of scorer. And so I think I'd hold it together, augment it a little bit, and try to take one run with it this year.
How dramatic of changes are you making? Are you trying to trade Ayton?
I got to be honest with you. I don't think that would be some dramatic change.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad that where we are right now. But honestly, you saw other guys. Remember last year when we got to the playoffs and there were those Biyombo moments. It's a prime spot if you can just roll to the basket because both those guys can draw the players and make plays.
He's not playing as hard. He's just not.
Who?
Ayton.
No. I'm saying guys like even Biyombo can have success. Sure. I'm saying it's a great spot. So I think you can get percentage of and certainly more effort. I don't think that's some kind of monster move.
Would Pirtle be an upgrade over Ayton right now? Our guy, Jakob Pirtle.
I want somebody that dives towards the basket.
Pirtle can dive.
He ain't finishing like that, though.
Yeah, but I disagree, Chris. I think Pirtle, he's not like a lob guy necessarily, but Ayton doesn't dunk a lot either.
But I want somebody that finishes. I know.
Yeah, Pirtle can put the ball on the ground. He's probably, I bet you he's statistically a better finisher at the rim than Ayton.
That may be so, but that's not, again, I don't want Ayton either. I'm just talking about the archetype, the kind of guy.
Pirtle, yeah. I'd want Pirtle in that role over Ayton. At the way he's playing right now, Ayton
I've always hated Ayton, so you're telling me nothing.
Ayton at his best was a very good player, but Ayton right now is such a major disappointment. It's a joke, and he's not all at fault here. We talked about it weeks ago with Phoenix. They don't just have a lot of guys who can do what some of the Boston or Denver guys do. When you talk about some of the other best teams in the league, or Memphis guys, where there's just a bunch of guys who can handle the ball, attack a closeout, make the right pass. Phoenix doesn't have a lot of guys who can initiate offense, make those type of plays, as a secondary creator. That's what they're really missing. It's not just on Ayton here. It's really, at the end of the day, a poorly constructed roster at this current moment.
Well, it is shown how the incredible reliance on Booker.
Oh, yeah.